folks, time for Give Me Five. And I want to talk about the National Football League and what's going on with the protests and the kneeling and arm locking and putting fists in the air and Colin Kaepernick and all this kind of garbage. There's a misconception out there that these players have a constitutional right to do this. No, they don't. You don't have a constitutional right at work to say what you want, to stage a protest, to disrupt things, to do what your employer doesn't want you to do. You have a constitutional right to do that outside of your work building, on the street. Kaepernick and those other players who are kneeling and protesting and putting their fists in the air, they have a constitutional right to do that outside the stadium. They have no constitutional right to do that in uniform while they're being paid at work representing a team which plays in a private league. They have no constitutional right to freedom of speech on that field. And of course, the media says it's a constitutional right. The NFL says it's a constitutional right. The coaches of the teams involved say it's a constitutional right because they're scared. Yet at the same time, the same NFL rejected a request from players who wanted to wear a little 9/11 symbol on their cleats, on their shoes, during a game on Sunday. They were told no. Well, where's their constitutional right? The answer is, in a league, playing as a team in a league, just like in your office, you don't have a constitutional right to freedom of speech. You don't. You don't. Your employer says, I don't want you to do that. It's bad for my image. It's bad for the product. It's bad for it. Then you can't do it. But the owners and the league don't have the guts to stand up. Now, let's take a look at what happened last night on Monday Night Football. Now they have two games, which the whole thing I can't even understand anymore. There it is. Colin Kaepernick and a teammate kneeling during the national anthem. Shame, shame, shame. And there you have on the other sideline some of the Rams players. There you go. Two fists in the air. There you go. No constitutional right to do that at that point. If the owner of the team or the league said don't do it, they have no right. But they can do it because they're afraid of them. The league said, go ahead, do what you want. It's your right. No, it's not their right. Okay, that's number one. Now let's go back to Sunday on 9/11. Okay, here you have one of the Kansas City Chief cornerback Marcus Peters with his fist in the air on 9/11. I don't know, I guess you could say at least he stood. And here you have another picture. Let's go to the next one. These are the Miami Dolphins, a bunch of these players kneeling on 9/11. Shame on them. How dare they? Again, they have no constitutional right to do that there. And there's the Seattle Seahawks locking arms, which I guess is okay. But the coach, there's the coach. You can tell which one Pete Carroll is. He's got the gray hair. So when the coach is involved and the owner doesn't care and the league says, God bless you, then I guess they could do it. But it's not a constitutional right to do it there at that time. Make no mistake about that, notwithstanding what the coach of the 49ers said last night after the game.
I think, again, like we've said since day one, we recognize their right to do it. It's their constitutional right. Our president said the same thing, and that's part of what it's like to be an American, that you have the right to choose, and that's what he's choosing to do.
How foolish, how god-awful to say that. And our president said it. Well, that must make it true. This is the coach of a team. This is the coach of a team. I'm just saying. I could rattle off a list of things that a player might want to do and would never be able to do when it comes to something he might wear, something he might do, during a national anthem or on the field. You can't. The NFL is policed to the T, like I said. Why is it the constitutional right, coach, Mr. President, of these players to protest, kneeling, linking arms, fist in the air, on the field in uniform during their work time. Why is that their constitutional right? But apparently the league gets to say no to a player wanting to salute the victims and the families and the first responders of 9/11 on 9/11. They couldn't wear a little thing on their shoe. Where'd the constitutional right go? Well, the league said no. They could have done it, but they would have been fined. In fact, there was one police union, I think, that said if a particular player who was, I forget who it was in what city, wanted to do this, and if he was fined, the police union would pay that fine, which I wouldn't, if I'm the player, I wouldn't have done that either. I mean, you don't need the police union, who work their butts off, blood, sweat, and tears, and put their lives on the line, paying your fine. If you believe in something, you make enough to pay the fine. But that's my point. Why do you get fined for wanting to support 9/11? You better not do it. But I have a constitutional right. No, you don't. Colin Kaepernick has a constitutional right. The other players with their fists in the air, the other players locking arms, the other players kneeling and disrespecting 9/11, they have a constitutional right, according to the coach of the Niners, the league, everybody, right? Well, where's the constitutional right of the people who wanted to, respect and honor those who perished on 9/11? All of a sudden, the Constitution, my friends, that's their constitutional right. Make sense? I don't think so. I thank you for watching. See you tomorrow at noon and at 7.